All right, welcome to week 15. I posted a song from Peter Gabriel, Games Without Frontiers, which seems relevant to me for this week's readings. It was released in 1980. It was the third of four eponymous Peter Gabriel albums that he would release in the years immediately following his departure from Genesis. Games Without Frontiers was Gabriel's first top 10 single, which hit the charts at four in the United Kingdom. Didn't do as well in the United States for reasons I'll discuss in a minute. Interestingly, Atlantic Records didn't want, or actually wanted to kill the album, and that caused Gabriel to bolt to Mercury Records for the U.S. release. Uh, Gabriel was a bit cutting edge for 1980 and the music scene here in the United States, so the album didn't do as well, although it was incredibly well received critically and was really ahead of its time musically. The album also contained a great song, Biko, which is Gabriel's musical elegy to Stephen Biko, who was a South African anti-apartheid activist killed by South African police in Pretoria on September 12th, 1977, one of the major kind of martyrs to the anti-apartheid movement. This week we're taking a tour of the major countries' foreign intelligence services, as well as investigating kind of the regional state of intelligence agencies in the more remote parts of the world. This chapter to me is one of the more interesting, chapters, in part because I think it'd be a lot of fun to do like a 16-week course just surveying the different intelligence agencies and how they do their jobs and what their strengths and weaknesses are. More of a graduate level type thing than probably would be appropriate for here. Um, I just like to be able to learn about the way intelligence agencies in other countries behave relative to the regimes that are in place. I would like to have learned more about intelligence operations in Central Asia, which I think is a very interesting area, but it's also sort of a black hole from an academic perspective. Apparently, what happens in Kazakhstan stays in Kazakhstan. Uh, Reading about some of our major allies and adversaries, you get a sense of what the international pecking order is as it relates to what intelligence looks like. Some nations have a particularly fraught history as it relates to intelligence services, and so countries like Japan and Germany are particularly circumspect in their intelligence operations. Other nations like Canada, basically, I mean, Canada has not avoided or has not created a central intelligence agency like what we have, and I think there are reasons for that. I think the sections on China and Russia are really interesting, but not especially penetrating, simply because those nations are so secretive regarding their intelligence capabilities. But I suspect that the next edition will have a lot more on Russian intelligence simply because we have so much open source reporting on the Russian hacking of our elections. And we know a lot more about how they're conducting business as a result, which suggests something important about intelligence operations, which is the more aggressive you are, the more your rivals are going to learn about your intelligence capabilities. Um, for this week, we formally only have the quiz in the forum, but I should also note that that last article review of Amy Zeigert's piece on adaptation failure was pushed back to this week. So the drop boxes will be in the week 13 site, but you still have until this week to get it done. And then I also need to note that you have that 100-point assignment, the book review article or the article review, whatever you choose to do. That is due next week, which is week 16. And hopefully, if you haven't left that to the last minute, you need to come talk to me, and we'll try to figure out a workaround. Let's have a great week.